I'm here to talk to Kenny. What about them rims I was supposed to get on my car? There wasn't no spinners. There was supposed to be spinners.
It is taking a while time, rolling.
All right, let me take a station break. We have our guest in the room tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let me do a proper introduction. I'm going to be closing off the phone lines. Pastor Glasgow, your phone line is going to remain open. And let me just say here, it is my honor that I want to thank God for Stevie Mack. Again, I'll say who got me over to Blog Talk Radio. I want to thank Swoops for coming in, and Pastor Glasgow, I want to thank you for changing my universe. And now I'm getting teary-eyed and stuff like that. So I'm going to have to get out of this flesh. I'm going to have to go in the spirit. So y'all going to have to be praying for me. But let me introduce to the stage now and to the Ordinary People Society Radio here tonight. Your mic is open. Great Sister Lattisaw. Great Sister Lattisaw. That's all I can say. Yes. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing good. This is Stacy Lattisaw, right?
Yes, this is she.
My goodness, Pastor. Help me, Jesus. Okay. I'm gonna go on and y'all just pray for me right now. Great Sister Lattisaw, I got to tell you, this is a great honor to have you come to our show tonight, and I really appreciate you. And I brought you here I brought you so we could talk about your new book out, and that's called I Am Not the Same Girl Renewed. And before I go into that, I'm going to be myself, and I'm going to be myself, and I'm going to be myself. I got to say this to you. I'm going to be straight up, and you already know how I roll because you have read my pages on book. So
I ask you now.
I'm going to ask you now. Do not give up any names of anybody who has ever picked on you, okay? Because then I have to really be me and show them a new way to meet Jesus, okay? But I want y'all to understand. Stacy Lattisaw, she had her first hit at age 13. I'm going to let her do the talking. And Pastor Glasgow, I appreciate. Let me explain it. She was coming on my show. I only have a little cheesy 30-minute show that's free on Blog Talk. But Pastor, because of the capacity, got way over what I can handle. Pastor Glasgow allowed me to do this, and I appreciate that in you.
Praise
so I'm just gonna ask. I'm gonna ask that, and I'm all man. I'm telling you now. Everybody know me. I'm all man, but I got tears. Yeah, because because it was her music that helped me get to where I'm at today. A lot of people play a role in that. So I'm gonna bring her to the phone and ask her questions. I'm gonna let her explain her book, and I'm gonna tell you this is an autobiography of her life. And I just want you to break down just a little bit about the book, not too much to give it all away, but and I do want you to discuss about the pulling of the braids, okay? I do want you to discuss that, and I do want you to discuss I'm going to bring this up because I'm telling you now, I'm ticked off about it. But I'm going to say this right here, and I'm on a campaign. I'm telling everybody here, and I don't care who don't like. I'm on a campaign. I want to shut down BET and TV One until they change their programming to the favor of the people, not to the favor of those doggone it, them sponsors and all of that stuff. I'm on a campaign, take them out of the picture until they can change their programming, and I'm going to discuss how TV One tried to bash Stacy Lattisaw. I'm going to bring it up. Yeah, and I'm going to read what I wrote back to him, okay? But for right now, that's going to be at the end of the show. But Stacy Lattisaw, can you just give us a little small rundown on what age you started at, and then, go ahead.
I was 9 years old when I first started singing around the D.C. area, hometown. I was born and raised in Southeast D.C., and By the time I was about 12 years old, I met, actually my aunt worked with an attorney whose brother worked for Atlantic Records. So she would tell him about me and how I could sing, and so she wanted him to hear me singing. So my father at the time, he would always take me. He'd carry around a little tape recorder, and he would take me singing. So one day he took the tape player, and he got it to my aunt, gave her a little cassette tape, and he sent it over to the gentleman at that worked with my aunt. So he got the tape over to the president at that time of Atlantic Records. He got the tape over to him. So he was like, I want to meet this little girl. I want to hear her sing, in person, make sure that this is just, this is this little girl. Because at the time, they always said I sounded older than, 12 years old. But after he heard, we went to New York, and he heard me singing, and he told me that they wanted to give me a record deal. So I recorded my first album. I was almost 13. I was just a few months away from 13 years old, and I recorded my first album over at Atlantic Records, and I went over to Motown. I did 6 albums over at Atlantic, and I went over to Motown, and I recorded 4 albums on Motown. I worked with Johnny Gill. I actually discovered Johnny. We went to school here together in Southeast D.C., and we dated for a while, and we went our separate ways, and what else? That kind of brings me up to the last album. Actually, the last song that Johnny Gill and I did together was "Where Do We Go From Here," and that was the #1 song on the Billboard charts. It was #1 for 4 weeks, and I got to a place in my life where I was never really content. And I always had nice things. I met, a lot of celebrities, and I had the opportunity to meet and tour with the Jacksons in 1981. That was a highlight of my career. But I was still empty, and I didn't understand why. So I remember one day, long time ago, I got on my knees, and I dropped to the floor, and I said, God, I've heard about you, but I need to know who you are, because I suffered with bouts of depression and didn't never know, because, we as human beings, we try to fill, the void with material things, as cars and boats and jewelry and purses and diamonds and things. But, when I met God, it was almost like my whole life changed. I started looking at things differently. And the closer I got to God, it was almost as if he was saying to me, I've been waiting for you. But the closer I got to him, he just took away the desire for me to sing R&B music. And, many people didn't understand it. But I know that God called me out for a reason. And now I'm a minister now, and I go around and I speak at women's conferences, I speak at youth conferences, and I have a passion for people, especially young people, the next generation. One of my missions is to try to save them and reach them, because so many of them are lost, and in my opinion, they don't have very good role models today, and that's what I'm trying to make a difference in these children's lives.
Okay, and Stacy, great sister Lattisaw, I want to go to the book a little bit, and if you could explain, let me ask you a basic question.
Right.
Why should somebody want to buy your book? Tell us why they should want to buy your book.
Well, they should want to buy my book because, number one, most people tend to think that the music industry in itself is glamour, and it's all fun, and it's like the glamour and the glitz. That's all people tend to see. But my book breaks down the music industry. It basically talks about the do's and the don'ts. I break stuff down where people can understand it as far as, management. I want people, it's basically exposing the truth, okay? because I'm the kind of person, I keep it real, you know, and I want people to know that if you do not have, I don't care if you can be the best singer in town, but if you do not have the right representation as far as a good management, a good entertainment lawyer, a good support system,